Shut up and sit down.
Hey guys, Adam Jajeski back again for the DFS Datalytics NHL Starting Lineup. Let's kick off tonight with New York Rangers center Derek Stepan. I do think the Rangers are going to have a lot of steam behind them tonight. They're very big favorites in Vegas, but I do think Stepan on line 2 with Jimmy Vesey and Rick Nash, I think he's going to have a pretty drastic ownership drop from line 1 of Kreider, Zibanejad, and Zuccarello. So I really like Stepan at center tonight. He's, I think he's a little bit of an underrated player. He does have 23 points in 29 home games on the year. We have the Rangers, of course, projected for the highest goal output of the night, and Stepan actually is our second highest projected center on the slate, obviously only behind Sidney Crosby. So I really like Stepan on line 2 for the Rangers, and I think you can get him at pretty nice ownership rates too. On the wing, let's go with Evander Kane from the Buffalo Sabres. He's on a bit of a heater since coming back from injury. He does have 8 points in his last 9 games, and he's always been a volume shooter. He does have 26 shots in his last 5, so he's got a very high floor. And it looks like he might be out of Coach Dan Bosma's doghouse a little bit too. He is slated to play on line 2 for the Sabres alongside Jack Eichel and Sam Reinhart. And a lesson I learned early on in my DFS career, and I'm passing along to you, is you have to separate your like or dislike from a player away from you winning money. So whether or not you like Evander Kane or not, a lot of people learned that lesson over the last year or two with Patrick Kane, is that if you don't want to play the guy simply because you don't like him, you have to realize you might be losing money simply for that fact. So don't let your dislike for Evander Kane sway you from taking him tonight. He's in a great spot at a great price. And as we've seen games in Toronto go all year long, this one could be in a shootout, could be a 5-4 game, could even be a 6-5 game. And the way Kane shoots, his volume shots, he's going to be right in the mix of the scoring, I believe, for the Sabres tonight. Follow this one under the category of, if it doesn't break, don't fix it. We might as well go back to the well, again with Mitch Marner, the Toronto Maple Leafs. I suggested him on Wednesday night. He got on the board for you. Let's take him again tonight. He has 27 points in 25 home games. This game does project to be the highest paced game of the night, and just like they did on Wednesday night, the Maple Leafs do project again to have the highest scoring chances for of any team on the slate. Marner has 27 points in 25 home games, and the icing on the cake is the power play against the penalty kill for the Sabres. Believe it or not, the Maple Leafs do have the fourth highest rated power play of any team in the NHL, and the Sabres are going to come into Toronto tonight with the league's dead worst penalty kill. So dial up Marner, take him at his pretty reasonable price at $6,100 on DraftKings and $6,800 on FanDuel. Roll him again and watch the points pile up for you. Sliding back to defense, let's go with Oliver Ekman-Larsson from the Arizona Coyotes. And shockingly, I even have to call this an under-the-radar play. But we're just not seeing the production this year from OEL that we've come accustomed to. But OEL's game, he's still very good on the power play. 15 of his 28 points in the season have come on the man advantage. We do have this game projected as the second highest pace game of the night. Obviously, most of that is in Pittsburgh's favor. So with OEL's ice time about 24 plus minutes a night, you can even throw in some of the block shots in there. And if Arizona gets on the power play, a lot of times OEL plays both halves of the shift, obviously if they don't score. So I think he's in a good position. We do project the Coyotes to have 2.63 goals tonight, which is about right in the middle of all our teams in terms of projections. But I think you're going to get him at a very low ownership. Obviously, you get him at a very, very good price, especially on DraftKings. But OEL, again, he's still a great player, even though the production just isn't there for him this year. I think you can roll him out tonight and expect him to get on the scoreboard. On the other D spot, let's go with Victor Hedman from the Tampa Bay Lightning. We are seeing point production out of him. He does have 42 points on the season, so he is the second leading scorer for the Lightning. What you're really not going to get a lot of from him is the peripheral points. So that's my one worry tonight about suggesting him, is he's not a volume shooter. He doesn't actually block a ton of shots, even though he is 6'6". But I do like him simply for the fact that I do actually expect him to score tonight. Not necessarily a goal, but I do expect him to get on the score sheet. He plays a ton of minutes for the Lightning. They do have the 8th ranked power play against the 26th ranked penalty kill of the Winnipeg Jets. His price has dipped a little bit because he's only got 1 point in his last 4 games. But I think this is another situation where you're going to get Hedman at pretty low ownership. He's an elite talent against a team that struggles to kill off penalties, and that sort of feeds right into his wheelhouse. So my other deep pick here for tonight is Victor Hedman from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Back in net, let's go with Al Montoya of the Montreal Canadiens. I'm sure you're surprised to see him here, but when I started making these, I told you I'm not going to give you the chalk plays. I'm going to give you other options, and I do think Montoya is a good option. Of course, after he got announced as the starter, the Vegas line did drop. Last I saw, Montreal was only minus 120 favorites at home against the Blues. And the stigma attached to Montoya, of course, is that 10-goal game he gave up to Columbus. I think it was late November is when that happened. But if we take a look at his production, he's been pretty good. His last 6 starts, he's only given up 13 goals. And he hasn't played a lot in Montreal yet this year. But he has 73 saves on 73 shots faced. So he's literally not even allowed a goal yet on home ice. So I think he's in a good spot. Obviously, I think you're going to get him a very small ownership. His price is lower than the high-priced guys, the Vegas favorites. So I do like Montoya if you can stomach a little bit of risk. He's my goalie play of the night. That'll do it for the Saturday night edition of the NHL Starting Lineup by DFS Datalytics. We did roll out a new website design today, so take a look at that at dfsdatalytics.com. If you'd like total access to our projections plus our members-only chat, head on over to the membership page where we're offering the rest of the NHL season for just $55. Good luck to you tonight in your contest.